Imagine this. It's 1979. You're standing at the edge of an F1 track, the air is thick with the smell of fuel, and the sound of engines are echoing through the grandstands. The world's best drivers are here, Niki Lauda, Nelson Piquet, Alan Jones, but this isn't Formula 1, and they're all driving the same car. No constructors, no team politics, no million-dollar differences in engineering, just 20 identical BMW M1s, each with over 400 horsepower, all fighting for glory. This was the BMW M1 Procar Championship, one of the most forgotten racing series ever created. It lasted only 2 short seasons, but in that brief time, it managed to do something that modern motorsport rarely achieves. It made the world's greatest drivers compete on pure talent and nothing else. This is the story of how BMW turned a supercar with no home into one of the most unforgettable experiments in racing history. To understand how the M1 Procar Championship came to be, you first have to understand the car that inspired it, the BMW M1. In the late 1970s, BMW wanted to build a true supercar, something that could take on Porsche in endurance racing and prove that BMW could compete at the highest level. Their motorsport boss, Joachim Stuck, envisioned a car that would dominate Group 5 racing. Now, to compete in Group 5, the car not only had to be quick on the racetrack, but BMW would also have to make road-going versions available to consumers in order to be allowed to race. And to make it happen, BMW teamed up with Lamborghini. The Italians would build the chassis, while BMW handled the design and the engine. On paper, it was the perfect partnership, Italian style with German precision. But in reality, it ended up being a disaster. Lamborghini ran into financial trouble and the project stalled before production could begin. By the time BMW rescued the program and found new suppliers, years had passed. The rules had changed for Group 5. The M1 no longer qualified for the racing category it had been designed for. BMW now had a beautiful mid-engine supercar, but no series to race it in. Joachim Stuck refused to let the M1 go to waste. Instead, he came up with a radical idea. If no racing series existed for the car, BMW would simply create one. And not just any series. One that would bring together the fastest drivers in the world and give them equal machinery to prove their skill. With the support of Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley, the plan took shape. The new championship would run as a support series to F1 weekends across Europe. The top 5 F1 drivers from Friday qualifying would automatically earn a place on the grid, and they would be joined by touring car specialists, sports car racers, and privateers. 20 identical BMW M1 Pro cars, 1 race, equal cars, no excuses. The series finally saw the light of day in 1979. The M1's 3.5-liter inline-6 engine was tuned to produce 400 horsepower in race trim, more than enough to make it sufficient on track. It could rev to 9,000 RPM, and each car had the same specs, same power, same tires, same weight. For once, the outcome wouldn't necessarily come down to budget or aerodynamics, it would come down to the skill of the drivers. The first season of Procar instantly caught fans' attention. Before each Grand Prix, the same drivers they watched on Sunday were now racing side by side in equal cars on Saturday. It was European racing's answer to the IROC series that had become popular in the United States. Imagine yourself at Monaco or Hockenheim in 1979. Niki Lauda, Nelson Piquet, Mario Andretti, Alan Jones, all in the same car, throwing them into corners, wheels inches apart. The racing was pure chaos and pure joy. Drivers loved it, fans loved it, even the mechanics and organizers admitted it was some of the most exciting racing they'd ever seen. For the big-time F1 stars, Procar was kind of a release, a chance to just race without strategy meetings or political games, and for BMW it was marketing gold. The M1 became an icon. In the first season, Niki Lauda dominated. His methodical driving style made him perfect for Procar. The next year in 1980, a young Nelson Piquet took over, and he won the championship with his trademark aggression and flair. Each race was pretty short, around 15 to 20 laps depending on the track, but packed with non-stop action. The series points format was eerily similar to the modern F1 point system, with points for the top 10. Unfortunately, the magic couldn't last forever. By 1981, BMW was shifting its focus to a new challenge, Formula 1, the main show on Sunday. The company had begun developing a turbocharged engine for Brabham, a project that would soon make history when Nelson Piquet won the 1983 World Championship with BMW power. With BMW moving resources toward F1, the Procar Championship came to an end after just 2 seasons. Only around 40 M1 Pro cars were ever built. Some went on to race in endurance and GT events, Others ended up in private collections or museums. But even though this series was short-lived, the impact was lasting. Procar proved that great racing didn't require massive budgets or complex regulations. It just needed similar cars, talented drivers, and the will to compete. It was a showcase for driving talent, and in the years since we've seen special events try to tap into that concept. The Race of Champions events for many years pitted drivers head-to-head in tournament-style races to see who would come out on top. But Procar stands, alongside IROC, as a series where the driver was supposed to make the difference. The BMW M1 itself remains one of the most fascinating cars ever made by the brand. It combines sleek Italian lines with BMW's engineering prowess. It was fast, rare, and beautiful. A car that didn't quite fit in anywhere, but was perfect for what it did. It's also BMW's only true mid-engine supercar, unless you want to count the i8. The M1 became a symbol of ambition, a reminder that even when plans go wrong, innovation can turn failure into something legendary. When BMW revived the Procar name for demonstration races and special events decades later, it wasn't just nostalgia. It was a tribute to an era when the company dared to think differently. Looking back, the M1 Procar Championship feels like a glimpse into an alternate timeline. One where Formula 1 drivers could face off in equal cars. I mean, I know the FIA and Liberty Media have gone to great lengths to try to equalize the F1 field as much as possible, but as long as there are gaps in the rulebook, designers will always come up with differing ideas. The idea seems almost impossible today, but I think that's what makes it so fascinating. For 2 short years, BMW created a series that stripped racing back to its essence, just the pure art of driving against the competitors. And maybe that's why it's remembered so fondly. The Procar Championship was brief, but it captured something timeless. Just a bunch of guys going racing on a Saturday afternoon. The BMW M1 Procar Championship may have lasted only 2 seasons, but the legend endures. It was very much a product of its day, something unique that we are unlikely to see again, and those who were there to witness it, I'm sure, have great memories of it. A lot of my channel is bringing stories like this back from the past, and looking at them through a more modern lens, seeing as I'm still young myself. I want to tap into the nostalgia a lot of people have for bygone eras of motorsport, and I think Procar is just a perfect representation of that. It showed us what happens when the best drivers in the world race as equals, when skill is the only thing that matters. Although it was merely a marketing stunt, the story of Procar reminds us why we fell in love with motorsport in the first place, which is the thrill of competition and wanting to see which driver can rise above the rest. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.